This lesson is on finding factors. We're going to go over some vocabulary first. So we've already discussed what a factor is, but let's just have a reminder. A factor is a number that multiplies with another number to give a specific product. So when we multiply, we'll have factor times another factor equals a product. So if I have 2 times 3 equals 6, 2 and 3 are both factors, and 6 is the product. And 2 and 3 are both factors of 6 because you can multiply 2 by 3 and 3 by 2 to achieve a product of 6. So we say that 2 and 3 are factors of 6. A factor pair is two numbers that can be multiplied to give a specific product. So when I look at 2 times 3, 2 and 3 are a specific factor pair that will give me a product of 6. So when we find the factors of a number, what we're really doing is we're finding a list of all the numbers that we can multiply together to get that number as a product. And the first method that we're going to talk about is using a t-chart to find the number of pairs of factors for a given number. Our first example is going to be to find all the factors of the number 12. So I'm going to make myself a t-chart. And I always want to start with the number 1 and the number I'm looking for. So I always want to start with 1. And what can I multiply by 1 to get 12? Well, I can multiply 1 times 12. So 1 and 12 are both factors of 12, and 1 and 12 together make a factor pair. I can also multiply 2 by something to get 12. Well, I know I would multiply 2 by 6 to get 12. So 2 and 6 are both factors of 12, and 2 and 6 are a factor pair for 12. The next number I would try and multiply is 3. And I know I can multiply 3 times 4. The next number I could multiply is 4, but that's already on my list. And I know that I cannot multiply 5 to get 12. I already used the number 6. I cannot multiply 7, 8, 9, 10, or 11 by anything to achieve the product of 12. And I already used 12 with 1. So these are all of the factors of 12. So if I list them, the factors of 12 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. Now I want you to try to find all the factors of the number 16 using a t-chart. All right, let's use our t-chart and find the factors of 16. Again, we want to start with the number 1, and I know if I want to multiply something by the number 1 to get 16, I have to multiply 1 by 16. 16 is an even number, so I know that I can multiply 2 by something to get 16. To get 16, I would have to multiply the number 2 by the number 8. Thinking about the number 3, I know that 3 cannot fit evenly into 16. There's nothing I can multiply by 3 to get 16. The number 4, I would have to multiply by itself. 5 cannot fit evenly into 16, nor can 6 or 7. We already used the number 8. And there are no other numbers that will fit evenly into 16 that I haven't already used. So when I list the factors, it's 1, 2, 4, 8, and 16. Notice that I don't have to list the number 4 twice, but if I were using it as a factor pair, I would list 4 and 4. Now we're going to practice a couple more times finding the factors of a number using T-charts. I want you to try each of these on your own, and then we'll go over them. The first one we're going to look at is 36. Remember, I always use 1 and the number. 36 is even, so I know 2 is a factor. And I would have to multiply 2 by 18. And let's look at whether or not 3 is a factor. So I'm going to teach you a trick for divisibility rules for 3. If I take the number 36 and add the digits, I get 9. And since 9 can be divided by 3, I know that 36 can also be divided by 3. And I would have to multiply 3 by 12 to get 36. Four is also a factor of 36. I would have to multiply 4 by 9. 5 is not a factor of 36 because 36 does not end in 5 or in 0. 6 is a factor of 36. I would have to multiply 6 times 6. And 7 nor 8 are factors of 36. Neither one of those will divide evenly. So these are all the factors of 36. If I list them out, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. I only have to list once. 9, 12, 18, and 36. So you'll see I kind of make a loop around the T-chart to list my factors in numerical order. And when I count them, 36 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 factors. Now let's look at the number 44. Again, I'm going to start with 1 and the number itself. 44 is even, so I know that 2 will go in. I would have to multiply 2 by 22. 4 plus 4 is 8. And 8 cannot be divided by 3, so 3 is not a factor. But 4 is a factor, and I would have to multiply it by 11. 5 is not a factor because it doesn't end in a 5 or a 0. And 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 are not factors either. So these are the only factors of the number 44. My list would read 1, 2, 4, 11, 22, 44. So it turns out that 44 has 6 factors. Now let's look at the number 52. Again, I'm going to start with 1 and 52. It's even, so I know it can be divided by 2. And it would be 26. 5 plus 2 is 7, and 7 cannot be divided by 3, so I know that 52 cannot be divided by 3. 52 can be divided by 4. I would have to multiply it by 13. 52 cannot be divided by 5 because 52 doesn't end in a 5 or a 0. 52 can also not be divided by 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, or 12. So I know that because I already used 13, that these are all the factors of 52. So when I list them out, it would be 1, 2, 4, 13, 26, 52. And 52 has 6 factors. The next method we're going to talk about is called a factor rainbow. And this is very similar to our T-chart, only it's a different shape. So when we find the factors of the number 9, we're still going to start with 1 and the number. And we're going to connect those in a rainbow. And I know that all the other factors are going to have to be between 1 and 9. 9 is an odd number, so I know it can't be divided by 2, but it can be divided by 3. Nine cannot be divided by 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. So these are all of the factors of 9. So the factors of 9 are 1, 3, and 9. But the factor pairs are 1 and 9 and 3 and 3. Now I want you to try finding all the factors of the number 20 using a factor rainbow. When we find the factors of the number 20 using the rainbow, we start with 1 and 20. And we know that all of our other factors are going to have to be between 1 and 20. 20 is even, so I know it can be divided by 2. And I know that to get 20, I would have to multiply 2 times 10. Two plus 0 is 2, and 2 cannot be divided by 3. So I know that 20 cannot be divided by 3. 20 can be divided by 4. And I know that I would have to multiply 4 times the number 5 to get 20. I already used the number 5, so I'm not going to repeat it. And 6, 7, 8, and 9 do not divide evenly into 20. So these are all of the factors of the number 20. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 20 are factors of 20, but the factor pairs are connected by the rainbow. So 1 and 20 is a factor pair, 2 and 10 is a factor pair, and 4 and 5 is a factor pair. Now I want you to use the factor rainbow to try and find all the factors of 60. We're going to start with 1 and 60. 60 is even, so I know 2 will work. Well, I would multiply 2 by 30. I know that 60 can be divided by 3 because 6 plus 0 is 6, and 6 can be divided by 3. And I would have to multiply 3 times 20. 4 can also go into 60. Think about a quarter of an hour. A quarter means we can divide something by 4. An hour is 60 minutes. So if we can have a quarter of an hour, we can have 60 divided by 4. Well, a quarter of an hour is 15 minutes, so it would be 4 and 15. And 60 ends in 0, so it can also be divided by 5. And it would be 5 times 12. And 60 can also be divided by 6, and it would be 6 times 10. So the factors of 60 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 15, 20, 30, and 60. And each factor pair is connected by the factor rainbow. So 1 and 60 are a factor pair, just like 4 and 15 are a factor pair. Now we're going to look at using the area model to find factors. So what we're going to do is we're going to see how many different ways we can make a rectangle with factors of 30. So I know that I could just make one row of 30. And that would be 1 times 30. I don't have enough blocks on this grid to do that, but I would fill in 30 blocks in a row. I could also arrange 30 in 2 rows of 15. And when I count the area of this rectangle that I've drawn, I know that the area is 30, and I have 2 times 15 will give me 30. I can also arrange 3 blocks of 10, or 3 rows of 10. And that will also cover 30 blocks. So 3 times 10 is also a factor pair. I could also use 5 blocks of 6. So 5 times 6 is a factor pair. So all my factors of 30 would be 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 10, 15, and 30. Now I want you to use the area model to try and find all the factors of 18. So the first thing I know I can do is I can make one row of 18. And that would be 1 times 18 for the blue. 18 is even, so I know I can also make 2 blocks of 9. One plus 8 is 9, and 9 can be divided by 3, so I can also make 3 groups of 6. And there are no other ways that I can arrange these blocks to have even sides and cover 18 blocks, because I'm looking for a perfect rectangle. So my factors are 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, and 18. So we've talked about 3 different ways that you can find the factors of a number today. You can use whichever way is easiest for you, but the key thing to remember is always use 1 first. So always use 1 and the number itself to get you started.